You didn't grow up dreaming of a cubicle headset. No one ever asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you answered, customer service rep. This wasn't ambition. This was desperation. Survival. Rent was due. Your car needed repairs. You were tired of jobs where you stood for 8 hours and left with grease on your shirt and your name on your chest. You needed something, anything, with a chair, a break room, and a paycheck that cleared on time. That's when you saw it. Inbound call center. Paid training, no experience needed. You didn't even finish reading before hitting apply. You just saw benefits and full-time. The next thing you know, you're sitting in a beige room with fluorescent lights and a coffee that tastes like cardboard, being handed a laminated script. Thank you for calling. How can I provide excellent service today? They tell you to smile when you say it, that customers can hear the difference. You try it. It feels weird. Like acting in a play where the audience is invisible and angry. On your first day, you're nervous. Not because of the work, because of the silence. The eerie, sterile hum of people talking into headsets, nodding to voices that don't exist in the room. You're assigned a desk. The keyboard's sticky. The chair leans a little to the right. There's a post-it on your monitor that says, ask before transferring. Your first call is a disaster. A man yelling about a late fee. You fumble through the prompts, misclick twice, accidentally put him on hold, and then hang up trying to transfer. Your supervisor says, it's okay, you'll get better. But you're not so sure. Your second call? Worse. A woman sobbing because her phone line's been dead for days, and her dad's in hospice. You're supposed to apologize and upsell a plan. You do neither. You just sit there, listening, unsure what human empathy looks like in script format. By lunch, your voice is raw. You've said, I apologize for the inconvenience more times in one morning than in your entire life. The hold music loops endlessly in your brain, a melody of customer dissatisfaction. You scarf down something cold in the break room while everyone stares at their phones, too drained to talk. You go home and crash, not physically, emotionally. Your body's still, but your mind's racing with every voice you heard, every issue you didn't solve, every time you said, I understand, and didn't mean it. The headset hurts your ears. The desk smells faintly of burnt plastic and stress. You try to focus, to believe this is just a stepping stone, something to tide you over until you figure out what you really want. But you already know, this is going to last longer than you planned. Because it's stable, it's paid weekly, and for the first time in months, you're not chasing a schedule written on the back of a receipt. This place might be soul-numbing, but it comes with direct deposit. So you come back, and the next day, the calls keep coming. You start to memorize the layout of the software, learn the difference between a concern and a complaint. Learn that most people don't want solutions. They want someone to yell at. And that someone is you. You tell yourself it's temporary, that you'll only be here a few months. But even now, part of you knows, if this is where you start, getting out won't be easy. Because slowly, without you realizing it, the script becomes your voice. And the headset? It becomes a part of you. You start learning the rhythm, not mastering it, just surviving it. You memorize the call flow, greet, empathize, identify the problem, offer solutions, upsell if possible. You learn when to pause for effect and when to speed up so the customer doesn't interrupt. You start talking in a voice that's not yours, slightly higher, fake-friendly, less real. Every word you say is monitored, every call is scored. You get docked for saying yeah instead of yes, for not using the customer's name 3 times, for sounding too robotic, even though the script is robotic. You sit through feedback sessions where a supervisor plays your callback and pauses to critique tone like it's a film review. And then there's the queue, an endless stream of voices, angry dads, frustrated moms. College kids who just want their internet fixed. People who've been on hold for 45 minutes and decide to make you pay for it. They unload on you. Not because you wronged them, but because they can. You become their emotional landfill. Every call is a lottery. Maybe it's quick and painless. Maybe it's 30 minutes of verbal punches. You're trained to de-escalate, but no one tells you how to hold your own emotions after the call ends. You mute yourself to take deep breaths, shake off the yelling, and smile again for the next one. You learn to fake patience. You learn to say, I understand, even when you don't. Some calls stay with you. A woman screaming that you ruined her Christmas. A man who says he hopes your entire family gets sick. A veteran trying to pay his bill with a canceled card, apologizing like it's his fault. You can't help him. You say, I'm sorry, sir. And he says, I bet you're not. And he's right. You're not sorry anymore. You're just numb. Your headset becomes an extension of your skull. You feel naked without it. The whole music seeps into your dreams. You start humming it in the shower without noticing. You flinch when your phone rings at home. You're always expecting a complaint. The system tracks everything. Call time, resolution time, after-call work. If you take too long writing notes, your metrics drop. If you go too fast and make a mistake, your metrics drop. You're not a person. You're a set of numbers in a spreadsheet. Green is good, yellow is bad, red means coaching. You stop making friends at work. What's the point? Everyone's tired, everyone's a little broken. You bond with your team through sarcasm and eye rolls. Inside jokes about impossible customers. The occasional donut in the break room feels like a holiday. You start cutting corners. Not maliciously, just to survive. You find ways to sound sincere without actually caring. You learn how to end calls quickly without getting flagged. You become efficient at being fake. And when you go home, the silence is loud. You don't want to talk. You've already said 10,000 words that day. You turn on the TV for noise and scroll mindlessly, trying to feel something real. Your job isn't physical, but your body hurts. Your back, your neck, your throat. You start getting headaches, eye strain. You start wondering if this is what they meant by comfortable office job. But comfort, it's not just about sitting. It's about not dreading your day before it starts. You get good, too good. You can de-escalate a furious customer in under a minute. You know when to apologize and when to push back. You can tell within the first 10 seconds of a call whether it's going to be a scream fest, a sob story, or someone who just wants a bill explained. You speak in code now. I completely understand means I don't care, but I need you to calm down. Let me look into that means give me 5 seconds to Google this. You've perfected the voice. Calm, clear, friendly, and just robotic enough to sound professional. And that's the problem. You're not faking it anymore. You've become it. That warm tone isn't just for customers anymore. It creeps into your real life. You answer texts like you're on a shift. You catch yourself saying, "No worries," to your mom. You end personal calls with, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" You win Employee of the Month once. A certificate, a shout out, and a $10 coffee card. You smile for the photo, then go right back to the queue. You're not proud. You're just conditioned. You stop questioning the script, you start defending it. We don't make the rules, you tell customers, but now you believe it. The company policies that once seemed ridiculous now feel like law. You become part of the system you used to roll your eyes at. You start training new hires. You show them how to sound sincere, even when they're not. You teach them shortcuts. You warn them not to take things personally. But deep down, you know they will, until they don't, until they're like you. There's a cold efficiency to it now. Calls blur together. Voices blend. You don't hear stories anymore, just problems to solve and targets to hit. You forget names the second the line disconnects. You measure your day in calls taken and issues closed. Outside work, people ask what you do. You lie. Tech support, you say. Customer operations. Anything but what it really is. Being a professional apology machine. You don't talk about the job because there's nothing glamorous about it. Nothing worth bragging about. You don't save lives. You don't build things. You just absorb stress. One headset call at a time. Sometimes you wonder who you'd be if you never took this job. If you never sat through that training. If you never memorized that script. You wonder if your real voice would sound different. Less practice, less filtered, more you. But you don't have time for wondering. Your break is over, the queue's full, and you've got another "I completely understand" ready to go. Burnout doesn't show up all at once. It trickles in. First, it's physical. Your neck stays stiff. Your back aches in ways no chair adjustment can fix. Your throat gets raw by noon. You start popping lozenges like candy just to keep your voice from cracking. Then it's mental. You feel tired all the time, even after sleep. You stop setting alarms and just wake up from habit. You don't dread work anymore, not because it's better, but because the dread is baked in. A dull, constant wait. You coach new hires now. They're excited, nervous, optimistic. You envy that. You try to guide them, give them tips, keep it real. But the light in their eyes reminds you of a version of yourself you buried years ago. They ask, "How long have you worked here?" You say, "Too long," and laugh. But it's not really a joke. You're still hitting targets. Your stats look good. Management likes you. You're consistent, reliable. Number. You've learned how to be perfect on paper and invisible in person. The company adds new tools, more dashboards, more scripts, more automation. You're no longer solving problems. You're walking callers through digital mazes designed by people who've never worn a headset in their life. You catch yourself zoning out mid-call. You still respond in all the right ways, autopilot empathy, but your brain drifts. You start counting breaths between words. You start wondering how many more years your voice could fake concern. Sometimes you mute yourself and just breathe. Not because you're stressed, because you don't feel anything at all. You used to care. Even if you didn't show it, there was a flicker of compassion behind the voice. Now it's reflex, a muscle memory of caring. The worst days aren't the ones where customers scream. The worst days are the quiet ones, where everyone's polite, everything works, and yet you still feel completely hollow by 5 p.m. You used to take lunch outside. Now you just sit at your desk with your food on mute, scrolling nothing. Even the break room's lost its meaning, just vending machines and dead eyes. You think about leaving, you browse job boards, you fantasize about quitting dramatically, tossing the headset down, walking out mid-call, never looking back, but you don't. Because you're tired. Because it's easier to stay tired than to start over. Because you're good at this. And being good at something that's slowly draining the color from your life makes leaving feel like failure. You're not chasing promotions, you're not climbing, you're just floating in place, wrapped in cable cords and fake smiles. And the scariest part? No one notices. Because from the outside, you're fine. Just another voice in the system, still showing up, still saying, I completely understand, still surviving. You're fluent now, not in a language, but in a tone. That call center cadence, smooth, measured, inoffensive. You've said the phrase, I understand, so many times it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just syllables, like background noise in your own mouth. You're not even sure where your real voice went. The way you talk to friends, family, even strangers, it all sounds like the job. Polite, polished, emotionally distant. You respond automatically, like there's always a script in your head. You don't just take calls anymore, you live like one. Always anticipating issues, always ready to de-escalate. You catch yourself apologizing for things that aren't your fault. Not just at work, but everywhere. You've become skilled? Yes. But at what? At swallowing emotions, at turning empathy into routine, at sounding human while feeling like a shell. People say, at least it's stable. And sure, the check's clear, the benefits exist. You're not risking your life or breaking your back. But somehow this job has managed to take pieces of you without ever laying a hand on you. You've been yelled at, sobbed to, flirted with, threatened by people who don't know your name and forget your voice 5 seconds after they hang up. You've mediated divorces, canceled funerals, reactivated accounts for people who didn't know their partner had passed. You've seen grief, rage, confusion, and loneliness, all through a headset. All filtered through a screen that tells you which boxes to click and which emotion to mimic. And you've done it well. Too well. You know how to hit metrics, how to charm supervisors, how to coach new hires with a smile and a warning. You've made peace with the absurdity of it all, being timed for how long it takes to sound compassionate. But late at night, when the queue is quiet and the lights dim, you wonder, what did this job actually cost? Not just hours, not just energy, but identity. Because when your daily existence revolves around pretending to care, eventually, you forget what real caring even feels like. You start to question your reactions outside of work. Was that laugh genuine? Did you actually mean what you said to your friend? Or was it just more muscle memory, another form of customer service with people you know? You don't know anymore. That's the part they never put in the job listing. Not the pay, not the script, not the headset, but the slow erosion of self. The way your personality gets flattened into professionalism, the way your tone becomes a mask, the way your instincts stop being yours. You're not broken, you're just blurred. Blurred between real and rehearsed, between who you are and what the job trained you to be. And maybe you'll get out someday, maybe you'll finally take the headset off for good. But even then, you'll hear the hold music in your head. You'll answer the phone a little too politely. You'll say no worries instead of no problem. Because some jobs don't just stay at work. Some jobs stay in your voice. That's why it sucks to be a call center agent.